Welcome to the TuneUp Challenge, where I take songwriting and I break it down into a simple practice so you can realize how fun and easy songwriting can be. In today's TuneUp Challenge, we are going to reconstruct the beats in the introduction of Sabrina Carpenter's song, Please, Please, Please. We're going to focus on counting subdivisions in 4/4 time and how to input beats in a drum machine using Bandlab. So why is working with beats important for a songwriter? First off, it helps with your creativity. A beat can spark a new melody or lyrics. You can practice drafting a top line over a beat to feel out new lyrics and new melodies. Beats help a song move forward. They are the pulse. They are the underlying foundation of the song. Getting in touch with these will help us develop new writing patterns with new pulses. Beats tell us when to start, stop, or how fast or slow things should feel. So this is another doorway into your songwriting. Beats set the mood. They can completely change the vibe of a song. And they can also help make it super, super catchy. For example, if you have a slow beat, it might help you feel really relaxed and calm. But if you have something that's syncopated and more quickly paced, you'll feel energetic. Beats also help organize song structure. You might find complementary beats in choruses that are slightly different from the ones in verses and bridges and so forth. So they help organize and structure our song. Before you start this challenge today, I highly recommend that you review the parts of a 5-piece drum kit. It's also important that you know how to properly count beats in 4/4 time signature. So let's do a quick review. If we're counting quarter notes, we count 1, 2, 3, 4, and there are 4 beats in the measure. If we're counting eighth notes, we count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. If we're counting 16th notes, that's dividing an eighth note, then we count 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. This is important because in our song today we have drum fills, and those are going to be broken down to 16th notes. Also, when you look at your grid, if you're programming these beats into a drum machine, you're going to see a series of blocks, and there will be 4 blocks for each beat. That means the smallest subdivision on our screen is going to be the 16th note. Let's get started with our challenge today of reconstructing the introduction to Sabrina Carpenter's song, Please, Please, Please. The introduction is 8 bars long, and you will need to open up a brand new Bandlab project. Go ahead and select drum machine. We're going to just stick with basic right now, and it's going to pull this stuff up automatically. Just leave it as is right now. You will want to name your project. And for right now, we want to set our tempo. So listen to the track multiple times. I've erased the current drum machine tracks because we're going to program over those. But for right now, go ahead and click on the metronome so that it turns blue. And if you press the space bar or play, you will be able to hear the tempo. Now that's too fast. So listen back to the track and adjust the BPM until you think it matches the song. Our song is in 4/4 time signature. So I've established a BPM for my track, and I'm going to come down here and I'm going to go ahead and click on all these blocks because I want to remove them. This is a pre-programmed beat and it will not fit with our track. Take a moment to note, you can change the tone and sound of your drum kit. For right now, I'm just using the default until I get the beat in, and then I'll adjust with tones. Over here we have our different drums, our kick, our floor tom, our snare, 2 rack toms, one is lower pitched, one is higher pitched, a cymbal, hi-hats, and a crash. Note the grid that we're working on. 1.1, this is measure 1, beat 1, and there are 4 subdivisions. Each one of these blocks stands for a 16th note. So we are zoomed into the smallest increment, which the distance between 1.1 and 1.2, you should see 4 blocks. As you are listening to the track, you should be counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and see if you can find out what beat the kick drum is playing. So listen for the lowest tone, large, thumpy sound, the kick drum. Where is it falling? Is it falling on beat 1, 2, 3, 4, or multiple beats? After listening multiple times, I can determine that the kick drum is on beat 1 and beat 3. Likewise, do the same thing for the higher pitched drum that you hear. It is actually the snare. Is it being played at the same time as the kick or alternatively? It is on beats 2 and 4. So we end up with, so far I have programmed the kick and the snare for one measure or one count of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, in pattern A. So I want to add pattern A to my track, and there it is. Each one of these blocks means that you can program a different pattern or group of 4. So for right now, we're going to insert that on the first track. As you listen to the track, you quickly realize that at the end of measure 2, there is what is called a drum fill. It happens towards the end of the measure. You're going to need to listen to it multiple times. This is training your ear. And it breaks away from the ba, the kick and the snare. And it is a series of beats on a different set of drums, and it carries us into measure 3. So in this entire introduction of this song, we have 3 different distinct drum fills. So ultimately, we are going to need 3 different drum patterns. Right now we have A, which is the bulk of our introduction. So we're also going to need to program on pattern B and C. So let's focus on the first drum fill at the end of measure 2. For measure 2, the first 2 beats in the measure remain the same. The kick is on the 1, the snare is on the 2, and that carries over into the third beat with the kick. Listening to the end of it, you have to start counting 16th notes, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, because there's a bit of an anticipation and swing that happens. And this happens right here with the snare entering on the 4th 16th note in the third beat. So we have 1 E and a, bop, bop, and then we hear a hi-hat, an open hi-hat. This is the closest approximation we can get. I've added just a touch of swing. This makes it just a little more on the upbeat. So this is one limitation of working with the drum machine. You have to dial in some of the subtleties, and this is about as close as I could get it. So now I'm going to insert rhythm B on measure 2 here, and there I have it. I have A and I have B. The third measure, we're repeating pattern A, so just insert that block there. And for the fourth measure, we have the same drum fill as pattern B, except there is no hi-hat. It's just a straight snare hit. So we add that in here. And now we have, again, I had to add some swing to it. It's not completely on target, but it is a close approximation at 92% for the C block. And we now have going on to measure 5, pattern A repeats. So notice I'm just moving the playhead and then I'm clicking the pattern I want and pressing add. The sixth measure, I'm going to just insert pattern B. Then we go on to 2 more A patterns. And that takes us through the introduction of the song. Listening back to the intro, I realized that there is a crash cymbal right at the top, so I'm going to add this on the first beat. And we have our final pattern D, which I'm going to replace the block at the beginning because now I have this crashy sound at the top of it. Delete A, move my playhead to the beginning of the track, select D, which has the crash cymbal, and add it in. And there we go. From here you can adjust the drum kit that you want to use and get a better drum sound. For instance, rock. So run through these, select something that you think that sounds interesting. Reconstructing beats from popular songs that you love is a great way to train your ear. Yes, you are going to be pressing that back button or rewind button many, many times. That's okay. Learning how to count subdivisions is essential because it's the way that we can add accents and bridges and fills that carry us from one measure to the next and that help make our songs come alive. Even if your main instrument is voice or guitar, or you focus on writing lyrics, learning how to reconstruct beats is an awesome doorway into songwriting where you'll find lots of inspiration and maybe explore beyond your current boundaries. Today's tune-up challenge, beats. Sabrina Carpenter's Please, Please, Please. I look forward to hearing your beats inside the Teenagers Club.